I went to find out what this was, and there was like no one had the full story. Everyone had like a weird take on this, and I couldn't find the actual footage of what was happening. Yeah, we're doing AEW. I couldn't find out what actually happened in this. So I had to go, I pulled these screenshots myself. Look at that. Original content up in here is we're going to go over here and I'm going to watch. I'm going to try to make it through this. I'm probably going to get pissed off. We're going to watch Jim Cornette reviews Kenny Omega's 69 promo and confrontation with Christian Cage and Eddie Kingston. I don't think I like Jim Cornette. All right, let's go. Let's hear it.
Tony Schiavone in the ring again. He attempts to introduce Christian Cage, but instead, out comes the Twinkle Toes broom.
See, this fucking guy has a problem with Kenny Omega, and I feel it's a homophobic problem, and it really fucking, it's annoying that this motherfucker has an audience and gets to say shit like this in this day and age. But yeah, he wrestled with a child, and because Kenny Omega wrestled with a child and did a few like homoerotic things in the ring, he's Twinkle Toes now. The god of wrestling, Kenny Omega, best wrestler in the world. He broke the star system of wrestling matches. He's gotten 6-star matches and 7-star matches. Is referred to as Twinkle Toes because Jim Cornette's a fucking homophobe. So that's awesome.
Players and dance with their brooms. And then here comes Twinkle Toes and Callis and Gallows and Anderson. And
you see, I think he's not going to include any of the fucking context in this. I think we're just going to talk about the 69 spot. And we're not going to talk about how we got there or the context for it. And the context is important, people. It is. It actually fucking matters. For this, it really fucking matters.
You know, Harpo reminds me of one of the fashion consultants on Queer Eye for the Straight.
See, he's saying it right there. He looks to be like a homo. He seems to be a homo. How is this fucking okay for you to say this, motherfucker? People have progressed. People have progressed. Society has left you behind, bitch. Okay? It's over. This way of thinking, it's out fucking dated. You are in the fucking past. You live in the past, motherfucker. Stupid old motherfucker. He ain't gonna get Twinkle Toes. He ain't Twinkle Toes. He should be on the Queer Eye. His shit's dated. His takes are like from like fucking 10 years ago. Motherfucker hasn't paid attention to shit in 10 years. I know everything there is to know about wrestling from the 1940s.
Guy, did you ever watch that? I don't remember their names, but there's one of them.
Did you ever watch it, Jim? Were you a big fan of the show? Are you really fucking progressive in your thinking and that's where this place is coming from? Does it fucking matter? Just say what you're thinking. He's just fucking around with it. He looks like he should be on Queer Eye. He's a Twinkle Toes. Just say what you want. We all know what you want to say, right? Why don't you just fucking say it?
No, I didn't.
It was a fun show, a fun and frivolous show.
I used to see their pictures in the New York Post, so I know.
Why can't he be fun like the other ones? Why has he got to be in professional wrestling and why can't he be fun instead?
Who they are, but I never watched it.
He looks like one of them. I can't remember his name, but he'd make a good better fashion consultant than wrestler.
You ever notice he has a different look in every segment? A few weeks ago, he was in that school for kids. Well, of course it's for kids, but he was in like a preschool.
The fuck does that mean, of course it's for kids? Because he wrestled with a kid? Motherfucker, these fucking guys are like from the fucking Stone Age.
In a 3-piece suit. Then later on, that was the night he came out in like his...
He changed clothes and it blew my fucking mind.
White flowing shirt and his cowboy boots. And then he was dressed, for the barbed wire exploding match in a different way. And then here he's, like, every time we see him, he's dressed like a different guy.
Yeah, well,
Some people change clothes. It's weird. I never change my clothes. I wear the same clothes all the time so people know who I am because I don't have any distinguishing features.
I've not delved into it deep enough to spend a lot of time figuring out exactly
He just said that he should be on Queer Eye because he should be a fashion consultant. And now he's like, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. I just want to say nasty shit about him. I just want to imply that he's a queer, okay? That's why I'm doing this. Look, follow along, motherfucker. I'm just trying to imply some shit about Kenny. I'm not trying to say it directly because I don't want to get in trouble. I want to be unpolitically correct out here. Get my ass canceled. I just want to say it in like a subtle way. I'm speaking to my base, okay?
What Kenny Olivier is going to look like when he comes out. I just wish he'd hurry up and get it over with. Anyway, even Don Callis, who, remember, the Jackal, I liked his promos in the 90s. He was a good manager.
But now I don't like him because he hangs out with Kenny Omega. Because I hate Kenny Omega because one time he wrestled with a child.
I was a fan of his. He seems... Everything about these guys and what they do, they've all got their tongue in their cheek.
No, that's absolutely fucking false. Oh my fucking God. Like, if you're going to criticize a thing, you got to watch the thing. I criticize WWE, but I watch the thing. I did watch the thing my entire fucking childhood. I watched all their new shit. I try to tune it because if I want to criticize it, you got to fucking watch it. So if you're going to criticize AEW and the wrestlers there, you might need to fucking watch it. They do not all act like it's a big fucking joke. Some of them are dead fucking serious at times. There's a shifting tone in the show that they actually do rather well, better than the WWE by far. When I've seen the WWE go from dead serious to comical, it's like a fucking disaster. AEW does it beautifully. They handle things very well, and sometimes, yeah, they're goofy as shit, and then other times they're not. It's an entertaining show to watch. They have a good show. You should watch it sometime before you come out here and make all your ignorant fucking statements on YouTube.
They are all winking at each other somehow about the things that they're saying that I do not.
Watched an MJF promo today. There wasn't one wink in it. He was dead fucking serious. That man's truly deranged, and you can tell. How the fuck is John Moxley winking at you, motherfucker? You don't watch the show. You don't, just admit you don't watch the show because you don't like, it makes you feel weird. It makes you feel weird. And that's why you don't watch it. You just feel weird and you just avoid it.
I believe that they're, as I mentioned earlier in the program, it may not be in this YouTube clip, it was earlier in this podcast. When The Miz did his promo, he didn't do that fucking tongue-in-cheek wink thing. He was being a Weasley heel and lying, but you felt like he was trying to talk you into it and he was being serious. There's a difference. With all of these guys, they're just...
Oh yeah, The Miz never did anything tongue-in-cheek ever. Right? Ever. Never happened. It turns out The Miz actually isn't even funny. He's actually just like a dead serious, like almost like a horror villain. Like you almost think he's like some kind of like actual for real strangler or stabber or something. It's actually quite scary, The Miz.
Assing off. Is that the feeling you get, the vibe you get?
Yeah, and I understand.
Liar. If you watch the show, you're fucking lying. And it's probably just a self-report that you've never actually watched fucking AEW content. Because there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way someone could watch AEW and come away thinking that everything in it was tongue-in-cheek. AEW is so fucking... It's the most hardcore show that's ever been on TV. There's more fucking bleeding and serious content. Handled well. It's pretty fucking grounded, quite honestly, as opposed to what you see on the WWE in the past and now. I don't think we really have like mystical, magical shit happening. There's no fucking pallbearers. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what is, I don't get this when people like criticize AEW, what they are comparing it to. What is the thing that is better? I want to know what's better than AEW. I'll go watch it because apparently it's like the best shit in the planet. Like, what are you talking about? Just like wrestling from like the fucking 40s was better? Like, what is it? Everything? I don't fucking get it.
Stand it too. If you had a kid who thinks he knows more than he does, who's throwing money at you, wouldn't you feel the same way?
But wouldn't you go out and try to...
The kid in question here is Tony Khan, who's been like a wrestling fan since like what, he was 1? Yeah, he does. He might know something. I don't know. The guy knows a lot. He's not just a fucking kid who is just like a rich guy who is like, oh, I'm just going to go make money with wrestling. Who knows what the fuck wrestling is? Who cares? Dude's like a hardcore wrestling fan. Does he know as much as Jim fucking Cornette about fucking wrestling from the 40s or 30s or wherever the fuck he's from in the past when they were racist, bigoted, and homophobic? Yeah, probably not. Doesn't know probably maybe as much about that shit as Jim fucking Cornette, but I think he knows all the relevant shit and he's putting on a good show, so that's enough for me.
Got to be professional on television if you could. Callis can. Olivier can't. He's the shits. He's not going to get any better. Verbally or whatever the fuck. Callis can do it, but they're all falling into this thing, and we're just kidding. We're all playing here. So that's where they tried to, as we mentioned before, they tried to get the heel heat over taking away the fans' great moment, which would have been those two putzes getting blown up sky high. So, which is another problem when you have these, you advertise and book these kind of matches. So we're supposed to assume that the fans want to see both wrestlers be blown up for real and they're going to be disappointed if they're not? Yes, they were, because the explosion was the shits, but it just doesn't make any sense. And
he's not really explaining this. I can explain this. I have pictures, I have visual aids, and I can explain this. I'm seeing if he explains it better than that before I go explain it, but I'm like half a second away from explaining what the fuck he's talking about. Because I don't think he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He probably watched the clips. He didn't watch the fucking pay-per-view. He's probably like, I don't need to watch that Twinkle Toes wrestle to know that he's fucking awful. I don't actually need to watch anything about this to know that they are idiots and assholes.
Anyway,
I wouldn't just sit here and just fucking bag on WWE and never watch it. I totally watch that shit before I diss on it. Until I watch it, I'm like, yeah, maybe it was the fucking greatest show ever. I don't know. Maybe Roman Reigns is fucking amazing now. Or am I just going to bag on some shit I've never watched? That's like rule one of being like a fucking critic to anything is you have to watch the thing you're critiquing. You have to fucking watch it. You can't just like assume. I mean, apparently you don't have to do shit. You can just be fucking Jim Cornette and just be a fucking cocksucker asshole. And you could just go on. Just talk out your fucking ass. You don't have to watch anything at all. Just make it up. I assume that he's an asshole and doesn't know what he's doing.
Mentioned before, this explanation was awful in that everybody in their audience.
Like, do I have to watch this review just to hate on it? I mean, I could just assume that Jim Cornette's going to say a bunch of offensive homophobic shit in the next couple of minutes. And I can just bag on that. It would save me some fucking time. And then I wouldn't have to like pay attention to this at all. That'd be great. It'd be fucking fantastic.
Specifically, everybody in their audience knows that they're trying to explain a fart in church finish that they didn't mean, and it was fucked up, and now they're trying to take a cheap way out of it that, for all the reasons we talked about earlier, doesn't work. And then Harpo gave more of that, the fucking phone sex promo. He just sounds like, oh my God.
That's like the worst Kenny Omega impersonation. I think this man's actually turned on by Kenny Omega, which is okay. It's okay. It's conflicting. Kenny Omega is a very attractive man. He's a very charismatic guy. And I could see how someone closeted like Jim Cornette could get very concerned about his own sexuality looking at Kenny Omega for extended periods of time and listening to him talk. It's absolutely understandable. And yeah, Jim, I mean, you're going to have to come to terms with these things eventually. You're probably going to need some therapy. For sure. For sure, therapy's going to be involved.
Harder, baby. Anyway, Kingston finally comes in.
All right. The Kenny Omega style of speaking comes from his time in Japan, you fucking ignorant asshole, where they speak like Kenny Omega, like the way he does now, which is softer and more gentle than the American way, which is to be like fucking bowls in China shop, much like this asshole right here. Okay, Kenny Omega doesn't talk like that because he spent, I don't know, 20 fucking years in Japan. Long fucking time in Japan. His heart's in Japan. Loves Japan. He likes the Japanese culture. Speaks fluent Japanese. And he speaks more, just, it's a lower tone. You view it as like a phone sex thing, which is very, very much a self-report. but that's what it is. To explain it to your dumbass, that's what it is.
And Don Callis berates him and gives him 10 seconds to leave the ring. Now,
all right. So now he's explaining what happened. We'll get back to this, but let me explain what happened. Let me see. Look, everything Jim Cornette says is an asshole thing because he's an asshole. Let's go to this. Okay, so this is what he was kind of explaining. He was explaining that this is Revolution 2021. This was just at the start of the year, February or March. I think March. And oh, I fucking love this too. This is a great point, chat. Yes, his heel persona in Japanese wrestling, he would only speak English, even though everybody knew he spoke. It's so fucking easy to be a heel in Japan because you just do like the slightest thing and it's so offensive to them. It's so great. It's so easy to offend the Japanese audience that yes, all he needed to do to get heat was they knew he could speak Japanese, but he only spoke English, and he didn't have to do much else. That was enough. And they were like, fuck him. So great. Okay. Anyways, back to what I'm saying. You just act American and just mildly American, just being mild. That's why Americans love going over there, because they're just like, I'm American. I like beer. And they're like, boo. Whatever. It's just awesome in Japan for Americans. You're huge. You're terrifying. It's great. It's the promised land. Okay. So this is Revolution 2021. This is the exploding barbed wire death match. And they said that when 30 minutes are up, which is that timer up there, when it clicks down, the ring will explode. Okay, the ring's going to explode. So this is like probably the biggest botch in AEW history. This is like the biggest black eye AEW had in like its first year and a half or whatever, which says a lot. I mean, they did a lot of shit. This didn't work out. This is Eddie Kingston. He's come to the ring to save Jon Moxley, who's been beaten up by Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega's left. He's the big heel final boss and champion with the championship belt. He's left. The timer's ticking down. And let me go to picture number 2. Where the fuck is my next picture? Here we go. I'm going to pull that up now. So here I got a series of pictures. All right, and the ring starts to explode, but this is kind of all it does. And now, as you can see here, Eddie Kingston is like shielding Jon Moxley. This is the spot. This is what we're going to reference later with Kenny Omega. So this is important to know that this is how it looked. It looked like this. The sparklers went off. Nothing much happened. There was some smoke. And he remained here like this. Now, I think that Eddie is remaining like this because they thought that some more shit was going to happen. But it stayed like this. Nothing else happened. It was very anticlimactic. And Eddie stayed here for an uncomfortably long amount of time. The medic came in to treat Jon Moxley, who was bleeding out of his fucking head from the match because the ring was covered in barbed wire. This is the thing. We're talking about how tongue-in-cheek this company is and how everything's done. Everybody's all acting like they know they're in on the fucking joke. I'm like, this man's bleeding out of his fucking head. There's been when's the last time the fucking WWE has done an exploding barbed wire death match? Good ring explosion or not, okay? It doesn't happen. Fuckers bleeding all over the place, explosions and shit. Like, this was crazy, and there was no tongues and no fucking cheeks. And they played the end. They were going to have a bigger explosion and have it be more of a moment, but this was a moment because Eddie Kingston and Moxley were like feuding. They were like, I'm more hardcore than you and all this kind of shit. Once again, no tongues and no fucking cheeks. And when this happened and Moxley was here and nobody else would come out, Eddie came out, and this is like the friendship was rekindled, right? So this is friends being united. It's actually it's a nice story. It's a hell of a moment. It's something you don't get with most wrestling. It's something that happened. Now I believe here this is like minutes later, okay? And I think this is like a stagehand going like, look, there's no more fucking explosions. Nothing's gonna happen. That was it. You guys can get up now. So that's the moment. That's what happened. That's what we're referencing now. We cut to the next night. This is the next night. And Eddie does a fantastic promo. They didn't even need to do this part because Eddie did so fucking good with Moxley in their promo. Once again, no real tongues in cheeks. There was a little jokes, but it was good. He says that he was having a flashback at the time, and that's why he maintained the cover, stayed the way he stood, because he blacked out of fear and having a flashback to when he was in prison, which is like real. So he actually does have panic attacks and he does black out, and I believe he's been to prison. So very real. They stayed there so long, yes, for something that didn't work, and it was awkward and it didn't look right and it wasn't the finish that people wanted. However, the AEW audience wasn't like the WWE audience, and they hadn't been tortured for a year and a half with bullshit storylines and awful wrestling. So they were not booing. They were just like, a little confused, a little lit down, of course, but they weren't like, if that was WWE and that shit happened, they'd have been booing like fucking crazy. Because that's what happens at WWE shows, which is where fucking Cornette is from. I don't know if he likes the WWE either, or what the fuck he likes. I think he only likes the past. Anyway, so now this happens. Eddie Kingston's coming to the ring because these guys were like dissing on Moxley and him. And they start teasing him. They're like, oh, your best friend, John Moxley, are you going to protect him again? And then the countdown starts to happen like the ring's going to explode. So a call back to the night before. They're harassing Eddie Kingston. They're trying to make him feel stupid. I think it's an effective bit. And at 1, Omega lays down on the ground. It's a very quick thing. Like the thing with Eddie and Moxley goes on for like an uncomfortably long amount of time. Okay. This does not. This is blink and you will fucking miss it. Kenny lays down on the ground and he yells, 69 me Don. Now, I think if he didn't yell 69 me Don, we wouldn't be here today talking about this, but that's what Kenny Omega yells because Kenny Omega is a funny fucking guy. Like it or not, Kenny Omega has a fucking sense of humor. And then this happens. Now, if you'll notice here, Don Callis' head is not between Kenny Omega's legs. So this fucking homophobic piece of shit and everyone like him is getting upset over basically nothing. This is 2 fully clothed men laying in a wrestling match where half-clothed men lay routinely. Okay, like wrestling is not homoerotic. I don't know what the fuck you're doing watching wrestling and being a fucking homophobe because it's all oiled up dudes in their shorts wrestling. Like literally, maybe some of the gayest shit you've ever seen, which is great. I think it's fine. Why shouldn't it exist? But apparently this is too far. This is too much for old Twinkle Toes fucking Jim Cornette. He can't handle it, the goddamn snowflake. I think it's fucking hilarious that people that call other people fucking snowflakes and Twinkle Toes get the most fucking triggered, the most fucking innocuous shit. Like this is the most unoffensive shit that ever fucking happened. I'm dwelling on it. This was like that 2 fucking seconds. The second after this fucking happened. And we're up. It's over. The spot's over. Nobody actually gets 69, God forbid. Nobody actually gets any enjoyment out of this. And that's the bit. And Eddie's embarrassed because they're making fun of the way he covered Moxley. And that's it. It's a very simple fucking bit. Yet fucking Cornette and the fucking hogs like him go on about how it's fucking destroying wrestling. Oh, it fucking destroyed wrestling. All right, so let's listen to this asshole and what he has to say about it.
Now, bear in mind, they've been fucking talking, and suddenly Kingston comes out on his own, and because he's being maligned and talked about, and he's mad, right? And that's why he comes out to confront these guys. And then Callis gives him 10 seconds to leave the ring or they're going to fuck him up, right? And on the screen, the clock pops up, and it's already at 8 seconds, and the countdown.
Does that bother you? Is that like continuity area problem for you? He said 10 and the fucking sign said 8, the goddamn assholes. I wanted the sign to say 10. If you say 10 then the fucking sign should say, like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You're just trying to be mad. Like, I get it, dude. It's for the content or whatever, but you sound like a fucking idiot.
Just like the sound effects they had for the exploding ring. Bam, bam, bam. How did they know they need?
Yo, making the sound effects for the ring sound annoying ain't right because they were actually cool as fuck. I'm just saying. They were like low bassy and kind of like fucking awesome. They weren't like that. Like that shit that came out of your mouth wasn't like that. It was more awesome.
Did that? How did they know that Eddie Kingston was going to come out and interrupt them for them to have?
Yeah, it's really weird. This is a good point. He does bring up the blow-up doll. I'm surprised he hasn't brought up the blow-up doll. Yeah, Kenny Omega wrestled a fucking blow-up doll. Had a great match with a blow-up doll. Like one time in Japan for like 10 people, but he's burnt forever. Now he's twinkled toes and he's an asshole and he can't do anything right. One of the best wrestlers, hands down, been voted many times over best wrestler of the year. Fuck you, Jim Cornette.
Have a tape queued up on the fucking screen and the sound effects ready for them to give an ultimatum to a guy who interrupted them on an improvisational basis.
Are you aware that wrestling is scripted, Jim? Are you aware that this is an entertainment program? Like, I don't get the irritation here. You're just being a fucking idiot for being a fucking idiot's sake.
Brian, riddle me that one.
I have no answer for you.
Of course.
I'm your patsy. I agree with everything you say, Jim. I don't get paid unless I agree with every fucking thing you say. So, yeah, Jim, I don't know. I think you're entirely right. Let me 69 you, Jim. I just want to know, when you say like 69 can I do that to you? Is that like something we get to do one of these days? Because I'd really like to do that. I keep waiting for you, Jim, man. It's rough over here, boy. I'm so turned on.
Of course, because there is none. Because it's fucking stupid and they don't think, and there's no quality control. So then
I think you're right, Tiger Knight. I think Omega did intentionally say 69 me, Don, just to get Cornette pissed off, which is like meta and awesome. I fucking wish. Yeah, Kenny Omega, first wrestler to be voted best wrestler twice, and one of the first wrestlers to get a Funko Pop, a wrestling Funko Pop that was not a WWE Funko Pop. Mini first with Kenny Omega. And they still they wanted to hire his ass, and he told him to fuck off.
they give him 10 seconds.
It's full of shit like this, full of assholes like this. WWE is run by an asshole like this, Vince McMahon. Jim Cornette used to work for them. They're all a bunch of fucking good old boy assholes who can't understand shit. Kenny Omega did a storyline with his best friend in Japan that went over 10 years called The Golden Lovers. It was a pretty much straight up gay love storyline that they ran out for 10 years. We don't know if it's real or not or whatever. Who gives a shit? It's professional wrestling. It was fucking beautiful and amazing. And that's the kind of shit Kenny Omega does. And then this is the kind of shit that he gets shit on for here in America. I'm hoping to see something equal to that in AEW at some point because I think they're fucking amazing.
Leave the ringer. He's going to get fucked up. Sirens, clock on the screen. And Olivier trying to be a fucking...
It's not even funny, motherfucker. Like, come up with something funny. You're not even, like, fucking conservative humor is, like, the least funny shit ever. They're, like, incapable of being funny. It's ridiculous.
Jolly jokester. He's just so funny whenever he fucking makes his funny faces and his butt.
That's literally what wrestling is, by the way. Wrestling is literally about making faces. Like, that's pretty much the whole fucking show. You're a good wrestler the more faces you can make. If you can't make faces, you're not a good wrestler. You're just like a big meatbag. It's acting. God damn it, Jim. You know this. You fucking know this. Yeah, The Rock. All the big wrestlers make faces. That's the fucking job. If you're a superstar, you're good at making faces. Roman Reigns is a superstar because he knows how to make faces. He doesn't know how to do much else, but he knows how to make faces. It's what the job is.
Butt plug fucking expressions and goddamn does all of his stuff. He screams 69 me.
Did he just say butt plug expressions? What a fucking asshole. What a fucking homophobe. I cannot fucking believe the rampant homophobia on this man.
Don, save me. And he lays down and Callis covers him on top of, gets in a 69 with him.
Doesn't do that. No, we watched that. It's not really a 69. Has he ever been in a 69? Like, dude, like, what have you done your whole life if you've never done a 69? Like, you don't know what a fucking 69 is? That's not a 69. Like, you don't know. I guess Kenny's head is in his crotch pretty firmly. Kinda. It's not really, it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's off. So now maybe Don wasn't really ready to commit to fully. You know, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is going on there, but it's not really. I mean, I'll criticize that. This isn't a proper 69. So yeah, Kenny, come on, get it together, dudes. Next time you do a 69 spot, could we properly 69, please? Okay, let's get that together. I don't think we're pissing off Jim Cornette enough. Okay.
Making mockery of Kingston trying to save Moxley, which would have...
Yes, I think rather well. I think it was a funny bit. I mean, it lasts like 2 seconds. How can you get offended about this? It's like nothing. It's like almost nothing.
Been a great finish of the ring.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely the kind of guy that watches porn for the plot. He's like, and then the fucking pizza guy comes in, right? And the pizza guy comes in and he ain't even got a goddamn pizza in the box. I can tell because the box comes open at a certain point during the fucking, and there's no pizza in the goddamn box. So what the fuck was going on? Was he an actual pizza guy? Or was he just a guy walking across the street, picked up the fucking box out of the goddamn trash, and then came up to the door, and they started sucking and fucking and shit? You gotta put the, I don't understand, man. I'm trying to watch this fucking thing and understand the goddamn dialogue's like shit, and I don't understand. And I'm waiting for the part with the 69 with the men, and it never fucking happens. It's all men and women, and it's getting me all worried. I'm waiting for them to do some like butt plug stuff, and it just doesn't happen. I'm very disappointed.
Had indeed blown up, and just further make this show a complete fucking comedy sketch.
I don't know if that's a comedy sketch. I don't think it was. It wasn't like, no one laughed. It was an asshole thing to do to Eddie Kingston is what it was. It was an asshole thing to do to Kenny Kingston because they were making fun of his, in kayfabe or otherwise, panic attack. So, right? This is actually great. Yes, chat. Undertaker was known for his standing 69. Undertaker made a whole every Undertaker match you've ever seen has a standing 69 in it. Just, I guess if anyone ever said, 69 Taker, that would have pissed off Jim too. I don't know.
And then when Kingston tries to goddamn be serious and do some kind of business here and be a professional, did you hear old Harpo Fingerfuck actually said, he doesn't break character. Look at him. And then Kingston nailed Harpo and the heels got on him. And here comes Moxley. And so Moxley and Gallows and Anderson and Kingston get in a big fight. And you know what they did, Brian? We've talked about this.
I got to go back and watch. I don't even know if he said that. I think he said something there. I mean, I just watched it. Maybe I missed it. I kind of don't think he said that. I mean, you let me know, anybody in here that knows for sure. Like I said, you can't actually pull up this clip on YouTube. For whatever fucking reason. This is too hot for fucking YouTube. That's why I had to do this. I wanted to set the fucking record straight. I don't know. You let me know down in the comments. Does he say that or not? I don't know. I got to go back and watch it now too.
Did you notice what they did?
What'd they do?
They fought off. They fought off. Where are we supposed to go? Just fight off. Remember I said that on the show last week, or was it the drive-through?
I think it may have been the drive-through.
I said the laziest thing besides no DQ in every match for lazy booking is, I've heard this for the past several years, that guys will give in finishes when they're given, okay, you guys, you get a big schmoz and just fight off. In other words, they get in a big fight in front of everybody and they fight out of the building and don't come back. You're expected to believe that they're just still fighting somewhere, that nobody, not the winner, not the loser, neither one of them came back. No report was given. They just fight off. Lazy booking. So they all fight off. to leave Twinkle Toes laying in the ring so that Christian's music can play. And the Christian comes out slowly, steps in slowly. They have a face-to-face slowly.
All right. I'm going to have to agree with him that the introduction of Christian was a little wonky. All right. We also do have to still point out we're in the middle of 2020 and it's a fucking pandemic. Okay. There's still that going on. So you criticizing wrestlers in 2020 is sus in itself. But okay. The Christian thing was weird. Because he comes out, and I think this is like the second time he's come out and not, like he came out during Revolution and didn't speak, which was weird. And then he comes out this time and doesn't speak, which is weird. And then the next show, he does give a promo, but it kind of doesn't have any gravitas because it's like it backstage is like the first time he speaks. He does a great promo, but it's like backstage to like no one. So it just feels botched as far as like the introduction of like what should be a new challenger arrives. It's all done with like silence, but it is on the same par as Ronda Rousey joining the WWE and nowhere near as cringe. Ronda Rousey's original appearance in WWE where she comes out after Asuka just like won the fucking Royal Rumble or whatever the fuck it was and like steals her fucking thunder by pointing at shit for like 15 fucking minutes, slowly, was way fucking more cringe and awful than this shit happened with Christian, which was like forgivable. As far as like the fighting out thing, like who gives a shit, dude? It's theatrics. Are you really? And then where'd they go? I want to know where they went. I want to know where the fuck they went. So now they got through fucking, and then where'd they go? Because now we're with someone else, and I'm just to assume that they are still fucking somewhere, and I'm still worried about the goddamn pizza box and what the fuck was in the pizza box. You got to tell me this shit. When I'm watching this thing, it's impossible for me to get off unless all of the fucking plot holes are addressed, and I know where everybody goes at the end of the day. I need to know where they are sleeping, where they are living, or else I cannot enjoy myself.
Twinkle Toes offers his hand. Christian won't take it. Twinkle Toes swings. Christian ducks, goes for his finish. Callus pulls Twinkle Toes out. Christian picks up the belt and the announcers go insane. Like this is the hottest angle that's ever been shot.
It's called putting over the new guy. Just trying to put over the new guy, man. I don't know. This is not something that Jim Cornette does. Definitely not something to do in WWE at all. But it's just putting over the new guy, man. Just introducing him to the audience. Just saying to the audience without words, this is a challenger to the belt. This is an important, which everybody knows who fucking Christian is anyways. Everybody just wants to cheer. They're allowing the audience to do what the fuck they want to do, which is cheer. Sorry, Jim. Some people like to enjoy this shit.
Stared at each other. There was a swing and a miss. The heel gets pulled out of the fucking ring, and the babyface picks up the belt, and everybody shits themselves verbally. And Christian Cage has still yet to say one.
Yeah, man, we like Christian, and we just want to fucking yell and cheer. What the fuck, dude? What's wrong with that? You just don't like people enjoying shit. You don't like fun. You don't like fun. You don't like good storylines. You don't like AEW. You're homophobic. It's weird.
One goddamn word on this television program. Your comments.
There's not too much I could add to that. The 69
No, I think you're perfectly right. I think everything you said is fine, not homophobic at all.
Me Don. That's the clip, more than maybe anything else in the history of the show, that I could see horrifying TNT executives.
What? What the fuck? I mean, in all fairness, they hadn't done the lights out match that they were going to do the next night. So the next night they had a lights out match with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, which is probably the most violent shit that's ever been on TV with like full fucking, I mean, Britt Baker blades herself so fucking deep. She just fucking geysers of blood coming out of her fucking head. That would be the thing that would bother TNT executives. Like this Who gives a shit? Like, the words 69 me Dawn are more offensive than what actually happens. I guess potentially if you live in the fucking past. But it's like, do you watch current television? What the fuck? It was a good match. But way more troubling than this. Like, this is whatever, man. And like I'm telling you, it's like blink and you miss it. Barely a fucking thing. Barely a fucking thing. You can trust me. I'm Mr. Hartgrave. Gravediggers. Let me know if you're a gravedigger. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Jesus fucking Christ. It's wrestling. Keep digging.